All right, so today we're going to talk about geolocation. That's a real fancy word for knowing where you are on a map and displaying a map. And so we'll be using the Google Maps and putting in our mobile app that we're developing here a place to show not only where you are, but directions to the pizza place or wherever you want to go to. So we can hard code in some places on our map, like to our restaurant, and then show the user where they are and have the directions automatically show up. It's pretty cool. So let's do that. So let's first add a new nav, and we'll call it map. And we'll call this map. So this will be a new menu item on the top of our navigation bar. So I'm going to add that to all of my pages. And then I need a new page at the end. And so we're going to copy our div with our page.
That one doesn't have your nav in it.
Well, I'll add it. Why doesn't it have my map in it? All right, so there we go. So we're going to add a new one instead of Dave. We're going to call it what? Map. So the ID is map. Remember that that's the internal navigation, so that it pulls us into that page. And then we can say display map here. All right, so let's see if that works. Where am I pasting this to? I don't remember where I'm deploying. We are going to CS 230. I wonder why we're going there. That's why I couldn't find it over the weekend. You gotta be kidding me.
Click on the tab and go open, reopen close tab.
There we go. I learned two things today. All right, so here we have our map and our nav, and it should show up. Our nav goes on all three pages. Got a map. So this is where we want to display our map, right? I didn't add that. Remember, we have to do this active state persist garbage. We have to put that on our map down here. Oops. And this is going to be gone. We'll put it in here. So now it's persistent. Does that make you feel better?
Yes.
All right, so now we're persistent. All right, so we're going to display our map here. So the first thing we need to do is find out where the user is. All right? So the best way to do that is in a JavaScript function that's built into the browsers now, and it's called Geolocation. So doesn't that surprise you? So we can do this. We'll do it just locally in a, no, let's see. I already have a JavaScript, don't I? I don't have a JavaScript file. All right, we'll just do it locally here. And we'll add some JavaScript in this page that's going to try to find out where the user is. Okay? And the function is called navigator. That's the main object that JavaScript gives you for the browser itself. And then we want to call the geolocation. Notice that it's found it there. See, geolocation. And we want to call the function get current position. See, that IntelliSense already gives that to us. Isn't that great? And what we are going to do with this is pass in a function. See how it likes to have a function here in the IntelliSense? It says this should have a function, much like when we do an on-click or something like that. We're passing in an anonymous function that gets called when the browser finally determines where you're at. Because it does take time for the browser to query the phone, and the phone has to get the GPS coordinates on the local cell towers and all that stuff and combine it together and finally give you a longitude and latitude, right? That's what they're going to give us back, is longitude and latitude. So that takes some time to do that, so I can't just sit here and wait. I don't want to pause my whole website. I want to give it a function to call when the browser decides to give me that information. Okay, so there's some time lapse that's happening there. It's asynchronous. It's going to happen when it darn well feels good enough to give it to me. So we're going to get back a position, and we're going to have a function in here. And we're going to do something when that get position finally happens. Okay, so it's going to pass me back an object called position, and it has some different attributes. So I can use some JavaScript. I can get my latitude is the pos.coords.latitude. And well, how did that happen? My longitude is going to be my pos.coords. What do you think? Longitude. Hey, amazing, right? So that's a number. And let's just write those to the log for now so we can see that we get something back. Console.log, and we're going to pass in lat. And we'll pass in the longitude. All right, so that's my whole script. Nice little small script. And it should print out the longitude and latitude when this happens, all right? So let's save this. And reload my page. Now, what happens is in a browser, it says, and this is in a desktop type situation, it asks you, do you want to disclose your current computer's location? You have to allow this or deny it. So if I deny it, my function will never trigger. It's never going to get that back. So it'll never call my anonymous function back. Does that make sense? If I allow it, then as soon as it figures out where I'm at, it's going to give me my longitude and latitude. So if I'm going to allow it, and eventually it's going to come back. I should have had my console open, and it printed back my longitude and my latitude. Isn't that sweet? See how easy that was to get where you're currently at? Got a few decimal points. What?
Isn't that the longitude and latitude of the gateway, though?
That's the longitude and latitude of wherever this computer thinks it's at. So when I was running this over the weekend, I had an AT&T wireless hot point, mobile hotspot on my phone that was connected, and it told me I was in Portland. Okay, so there's no guarantee that you're at, because I was running through this hotspot system. It never really gave me a true identity. If I'm on a phone, though, I'm going to get very close to true identity. I'm going to be, right, if I have GPS turned on, and optionally you realize that all the phones also use the Wi-Fi assist. Do you guys know what that is, Wi-Fi assist? If your Wi-Fi is on, it knows that it has this massive database of all the wireless hotspots all over the world, and it knows that those are at certain locations. And so it uses those to say, oh, I'm within range of a couple of these hotspots, so you must be here. And it uses the GPS to help further refine that and gives you a more accurate position. If you have Wi-Fi off, then the GPS that it gets is not really as accurate. It just doesn't give you as an accurate one, right? Totally.
So if you have Wi-Fi on, but you're not hearing the Wi-Fi,
You still can get some location. Yes, right. You get close. This doesn't. This uses a fixed IP address. The only thing it knows is that the IP address is somewhere in the country, right? So let's go look at these. Let's take these values. Right? It's so I can go to maps.google.com and I can type in my longitude and my latitude. And it says, well, that's not right, is it? It says Riverside, California. That's probably not correct. Avenue. Where is, so this is, so where am I really? I'm close. So it found, why did it find Spokane? The IP address, it looks up the IP address in its database of IP addresses, and it can locate at least the major city that you're at. So that's the best it can do with a desktop computer, because I have no GPS on my desktop computer, right? Doesn't work. Yeah, I'm actually over here, right? This is... So if I were to access this with your phone... Yep.
Have it throw the longitude and latitude as an alert.
Why?
So that I can push it through my phone and tell you what the longitude and latitude.
Well, go to my website on your phone. Go to my website. Ah, see, we're going to get to that. All right. So yeah, you can't get to the console. All right. So I don't want to do that. I want to take that value, and whenever that value comes through, let's fill in some spans or something. Okay. So let's add a longitude. Let's see, latitude first, and we'll add a span with an ID of latitude. How about that? With nothing in it. Right, we're going to use jQuery or JavaScript to locate that item and fill it in. Oh, I see what you're saying. Fine. There you go. You're right. I was thinking hash as I was writing it. So now, in addition to writing it to the console, let's, how do I target that span? $, hash lat, right? So that value, the text for that span, I want to replace with the value of lat that I got when this function fired. We'll do the same thing with the longitude. All right, so when this function fires, it's going to fill in the text part right in between here with the values that it has here. All right, so let's go load that up. Reload this guy, and it found it. Now I've got 47 and negative 117. All right, so it happened right away, and I didn't have to reauthorize the website because the browser remembered that this is the same URL, like a cookie. It remembers that I'm allowing this website to have my location, so I don't have to re-allow it. Now this does not happen on a mobile phone. So if you go to my site on your phones. Yeah, you should. Well, are you on Wi-Fi on the school's Wi-Fi?
I just turned my Wi-Fi off. Tried to get it to throw me a different number.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get pretty close, but. So let's see what I get with my phone. We'll fix it. So CIS230.CIS1 scc.com. Oops. Mine is slow. I'm on AT&T. What do you expect? Okay, so when I tried to come up, it did because it's a browser page. It comes up and says, "Do you want to allow them to use your current location?" So it's the same kind of a pop-up. And I say, "Okay." It's going to find it. I'm going to use my map because I can't get it to display on the screen, and I get something a little different, so it's probably closer to the school. All right? So, everybody see how we got that? See how easy it was to call the browser function and get the positions. And I can do whatever I want with those values. I could send it back to the server and save that in a database. I could do all kinds of stuff with that data, right? So now let's take that data and make a URL out of it instead. So I've got my latitude and my longitude. So let's make a URL. And anybody know how to get to Google.com? How do I tell it to look up my latitude and longitude? All right, so if you research that, you'll come across with Q, which is like the query, and it's actually maps question mark query Q, just like if you were doing a search in Google, and the first one is the latitude and the second one's the longitude. So we're going to add into it let's do it up here just for more fun. All right, so I'm going to create a string, which is the URL. And we're going to add to it the latitude. And then we're going to add to it a comma. And we're going to add to it the longitude. And we're going to add to it the end of my URL, which is a ending quote. And then something like your location /a, something like that. That should be right. Is that wrong? You think that's wrong? No, that doesn't matter, actually, because this is a separate string. I mean, I could do it that way. It doesn't make any difference, though. I'm just adding a bunch of strings together. No, I don't, actually. A comma. Comma worked for me this weekend. Let's see. All right, so then I need to display that. You want to have lat plus long. Is that what you're thinking? With this, I understand what you're saying, but I don't think I need it. All right, so let's do a URL out here, and we'll put a span, and we'll call this URL. That's really nice, and we'll plug this data in here. Target that directly. Give it the text of my URL string that I just created, and that should create a URL that's dynamically generated by my location. How about that? All right, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Why did it do that? Right, it converted it a lot like the HTML safe in Rails.
You would have to append it.
Right. So let's append it. And it will add the URL into that span. There we go. How about that? Now when I click on it, it should go to the map and show me exactly. Isn't that perfect? That's exactly what I wanted. Challenge accepted. All right. Isn't that cool? We're getting there. Relax. Relax. All right. So that's pretty close. I can also, instead of just append, I could call the HTML. That would work the same way, just to show you some different jQuery functions. That works identical. And that says add the HTML from the URL. So that's a lot like the HTML safe in Rails, rather than adding it as text. All right.
There's one issue I noticed,
Yep.
on your website. I've got it up on my tablet here, and when I try and load it on the info page, it'll ask me if I can tell it my location.
Right. Why is that?
Well, it's all one page.
Exactly. It's all one page. Yeah.
That's one thing I was saying.
Yeah. Right.
And if you allow it, and then go to the map page, it doesn't pop up. Right, because it's all one page.
It's a good thing. All right, so let's move this and try to figure out the directions now instead. All right, let's figure out how we can create a URL that has the directions. So if you Google this to figure out directions, you'll find that the URL has to look something. Oops, wrong language. The URL has to look something like this. You have to add a value, sadder equals something, and dadder equals something. Okay, so what do you think sadder means? There you go, start and destination. So your destination is always going to be your pizza place, right? It's always going to be where your restaurant is. So that could be hard-coded. So once you figure out where your longitude and latitude is, or you could even put the address in, you can leave that fixed and change your URL then to go from wherever they are, the current latitude and longitude, to your fixed latitude and longitude. So let's just pick something. Let's find Pizza Hut. All right, so there's a Pizza Hut. And we can get directions and say get directions, and we got to find the URL so that we can find. This is the destination address. I will. I'll get there. Relax. All right. So this shows you that I could put in the starting longitude and latitude, and this shows you I can just fill in some things here, or I can put in an actual address. And since I want my address to be out there as much as possible, let's put in the actual address. So my destination address is going to be Pizza Hut. So I'm going to copy all of this. Let's just copy it all. Move it over here so I can play with it. It's hard to get, yeah. So there's a long URL. I just want this Pizza Hut here. That's good enough for my my destination address. So let's copy the actual destination address too. Might as well. So instead of Q equals, we're going to say destination address, and then we're going to have the start address is going to be equal to my longitude and my latitude that I had before. So this stuff. All right, so I have my starting address here, my destination address where I'm going to go to. Am I missing something?
Single quote before your double quote before your location. Start another string name.
He's correct. He's correct. There we go. Booyah. There we go. So there's the directions. So now when I load it in my browser, reload it. Now it shows me directions from where I'm at, which in this case found me in Spokane City Courthouse, gives me directions all the way to my destination. So wherever I am in the world, I can always find my local Pizza Hut, whatever that is, right? Isn't that cool? But wait, any questions on any of that? But wait, there's more. So it would be nice to show this map instead, right? I want to show that on my page. I don't want them to have to click on that link. What? So I have a mini page. I just want to display it right here. I don't want to display this stuff. That's useless. I want to display the actual map here. So display actual map here. All right. So the easiest way to do that is to go find the map and look at this URL here, this little link in Google. And it says you can either embed it in a website or just get the URL. I want to embed it in the website. So this gives me the whole frame and everything, and I can customize it and view it and see it and change the width and height however I want this to be. So let's make this even smaller. Let's make this 360. I have to say custom. 360 by 360. How about that? Square. Nice and square. All right, so this is the URL. And see all this garbage that's in there? Lots of good stuff, right? So I want to change that. So let's just copy this, paste it in my site here. Well, I can do it lots of ways. I'm going to do it in my JavaScript because it's easier to pass variables to it. So here's my long URL. And the first thing we need to do is convert it into a string. So map equals, we'll put single quotes around everything because internally it has double quotes. So we'll put a single quote at the end. So that is a URL. And I could just put my map in a div with an ID of map. I already have one, so this is direction map, the map, all right? And before we fill anything else in, let's just see if this is going to work. Let's target that direction map and set the HTML to that.
You're inside the bracket.
I am. But you hate when that happens. Set the HTML to the map. Semicolon, because we're in JavaScript. And bada boom, bada bing, look at that. Is that sweet or what? Well, that's Google's problem. We just get rid of those right there. See how that works? So now I need to change because that's fixed. That will work. No, I copied this from the URL from Spokane Courthouse, so I need to change that to be dynamically getting the data from my longitude and my latitude that I got from the browser, right? So I need to change this and find in this URL. This is the direction, this is the URL. This is the destination address, which is fixed. The start address is this longitude and latitude. So I need to change this data. And so we'll close our string here. We'll add in our latitude, followed by a comma, followed by the longitude, followed by the rest of the string, and we'll delete this stuff here. And I forgot a plus sign. All right, so now that's going to take my existing position, whatever it got from the browser, dynamically, shove it into that, and my map should be updated automatically. In this case, I won't be able to see that change, but in your browser, you should be able to, in your phone, you should be able to see a difference, right? So if we reload our phone, everybody got their phones?
Yeah, but it's having a real
I have
hard
to check
time
mine out.
with that.
You have to check it out, okay.
Mine's not doing it right at all.
Just go back to the code.
Sure did.
Mine's still having trouble loading the map itself.
Mine's just having trouble getting to your site, period.
Oh, there might be something wrong. So, any questions on that?
Are you at the directions?
That is the directions.
No, an actual list of directions go to
Well, that's you'd have to find that on the map thing here.
little.
Yeah, if you go to view larger map, that comes from here on your phone, and it'll go there and you'll see the directions. I don't know any other way to do that. All right, so mine came through. It's still coming through. The 360 is too big for my phone, so I'd have to fix that. But there's the little map. Isn't that great? No, because it's in an iframe. So you'd have to change that, right? I leave that.
Size actually a percentage.
Yeah, you can do that. I leave that to you guys to do. Isn't that great? See the little map? Isn't that cool? I think so. I think that's cool. You click on here, you say get directions, there's your little list of directions. Perfect. They don't have an API that I know of to just get the direction portion of this. You'd have to write your own, so forget it. People know how to use this, so let them use it. I think that's good enough. They don't? That's right. Yeah. No, they try not to let that happen. Yeah. Because you're stealing their proprietary data there. All right. Any questions on any of that? Isn't that cool? Pretty simple. See how easy it is to add to your website?
It only took you an hour to do that.
Well, because I had to explain it all. It took me about 10 minutes at home. All right, so that's it for today. Tomorrow we'll go through creating a little, let's see, we'll go through creating a shopping cart in jQuery so that you can select things and add them to your cart and then ship that data back to a back-end system. And then we'll show how to store that data on your local browser, not using cookies, using the HTML5 local storage stuff. All right, that's it.